Tuck Erie and the Joel Natale Show live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio, also live on Facebook and YouTube here as we have the crucial conversations that Erie needs. And today, we're glad to welcome into the studio here Dorothy Sexauer and Christina Erven. They are parents of Blessed Sacrament Catholic School here. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having us, Joel.
We appreciate it. We're a family show. We like to get origin stories. Dorothy, did you grow up here in Erie? Did you transplant in?
No, I'm actually from Cambridge Springs.
Okay, sure.
I went to Seton School.
Did
Catholic
you?
School in Meadville.
Down in
I am
Meadville?
a Crawford County girl, born and bred, as I'm fond of telling my husband.
Nice. How about you, Christina? Grew up
I'm
around
an Erie
here?
girl.
Yeah.
I'm a Southwest Erie girl.
Nice, nice. Now, you went to Did you go to Catholic school?
I went to Sacred Heart.
You went to Sacred Heart.
I'm a Charger.
So you Charger. What was Seton's?
Eagles.
The Eagles.
Yeah.
There we go. And again, like I said earlier, I'm St. Paul's. I think we were the Knights. Yeah, I think we were the Knights. Anyway, again, some of us of a certain age, and I'm quite a bit older than you ladies, but you know, every parish had a school at one point, especially in the post-war era.
Right.
All right. And so maybe you can share a little bit about the history of Blessed Sacrament as you know it, because that is a pretty big, well-resourced school. It's got its own football field and so on.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So Blessed Sacrament was founded in 1939. The cornerstone was actually laid by Bishop John Mark Gannon, of illustrious fame, in 1938.
Okay.
In the 50s, I think the late 50s, there were 1,000 students.
Are you kidding?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not kidding.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And of course, you mentioned off the air that this year there's 178 attending Blessed Sacrament. Now, the Catholic school system kind of took things over, about 10 years ago or so?
2017, yeah.
Okay.
About 6 Catholic schools were united under the Erie Catholic school system.
And they were trying to divide up, my understanding is, divide up the diocese with different regional school systems. There was a school system down in the Venango area and so on. And so we had here, and it had whittled down to 6 Catholic schools is what you're saying.
Yes.
And the only one that wasn't a part of that, I think,
St. Greg's.
So St. Greg's.
Yeah, St. Greg's in Northeast is still a parish school.
Okay. So is Mother Teresa considered part of the system too?
They are an academy. It's Mother Teresa Academy, so they're paired in with prep.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought that was like under the prep jurisdiction, right? Cathedral prep.
And they've done an amazing job with that.
So, and so when that happened, when the consolidation happened, did you see an increase of students? Again, a lot. You would have maybe, Christina, you had the 7th grader.
That's kind of when we started to see the decrease.
The decrease after the consolidation.
So it's just been, and maybe no fault of their own, there's just been a few different presidents that have come through. So there hasn't been always the greatest of leadership.
You're talking about for the school system?
For Erie Catholic.
Yeah.
For Erie Catholic, for the presidents. But, and then we have COVID that we threw in there, right?
Right.
For a chunk of time, which none of us could control, and just made things pretty crazy.
How long were you guys remote learning during COVID?
Not long. Erie Catholic did an amazing job with that. We were out for the remainder of that 2020, so it was like March to the end of the school year, and we came right back. So it would have been,
So you missed about 3 months.
That's
is what
it.
You're saying.
And our teachers did an amazing job, and we have a remarkable staff. We've been under new leadership with a new principal for about a year and a half.
About that,
With Sister Catherine. She's a Benedictine sister, and she has just totally turned the school around. Like, we really, and Father Phil's our pastor, they really have a grasp on, the gospel values and getting us back to the origins probably of where we were at 1939.
How many other religious are on campus? Just the
We have
principal?
Sister Linda,
Okay.
so she's a sister of St. Joseph. She's our advanced math teacher.
Nice.
And she does an amazing job. So we have 2 sisters.
I mean, that was, again, remembering back to our day, one of the things that made Catholic school affordable is that so many women religious were embedded in the schools. And so it just frankly didn't cost as much to run these schools, right?
And it was Sisters of St. Joseph, whom I have a special love for in particular, because we were at Seton. We had Sisters of St. Joseph there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we probably had an equal amount of nuns and laity teaching us back, again, in the 70s, mind you, right? But so you saw a decrease with the consolidation efforts, and then what were other parents telling you? Again, you're well networked. What were you hearing? What were the stories?
Well, we had some different things going on. I think it was crazy times a little bit too, and I think that we had some bullying issues that had happened a little bit that weren't addressed, some different things, but a lot of that got shifted the last couple of years, where we're in a solid foundation right now. I think we have taken consideration those COVID years that really flipped everything upside down. For so many of us, even though we were back to school, we still had the plastic and, the face masks and, all of these other things. So I think the whole world was kind of flipped upside down, where right now we're like a solid structure right now. This is like getting back to the basics.
Yeah, things have definitely
leadership.
Turned around and, gone to the better.
This is actually the best since I've been a parent there for about 11 years. This is the best that I have seen the school.
Okay.
So to see this happen right now.
How long has the decline been in going on here?
I would say probably like the last 5 years, 6 years.
Okay, so
and it was leadership.
I mean, you feel like it was leadership at the top level, not necessarily, or okay, help me understand all that.
At both levels, I would say with some disciplinary issues, but then I'd also say we've had different presidents. There wasn't stability.
We've had
within
5 presidents within the last basically 8 years. We're going to have another one coming in July. So between presidents and interim presidents, there has not been like a long-term leader for a considerable while.
And you're feeling that is instructive of maybe this decision might be happening rash. I'll get into the meat and potatoes of the decision here in a little bit, but so you've seen kind of like a revolving door at top leadership for the Catholic school system. Okay. Have you been able to have avenues to express your concerns about what you were seeing at school? I mean, well before there was talk about closing the school, or maybe I should ask, when did talk about closing the school start occurring? Has it been several years now?
For us, just when we found out on February 14th.
So there had never been a chat of, and if we get this thing, if we don't get this thing turned around, we're going to lose this school.
We were completely blindsided.
Did it ever occur to parents?
Well,
that
of course,
this could
there's
happen?
always the scuttlebutt of it, right? Like it's like, oh, what's going on? What's going to happen? But no, the first that we heard about it was February 14th when we got the email.
Okay, so you did notice decline. You did notice a lot of change at the top. Did you have change at the school level, the school leadership level as well, or principal-wise? Yeah.
Yes. So Mr. Hall came in, what year was that?
Was it 2022 in the fall?
2022, we're going to guess around there. And he did an amazing job, kind of helped getting some structure.
Okay.
And then Sister Catherine took over right after that. And so during that, they've done an amazing job, which is just stability and just getting us back to what we're supposed to be doing.
And did you think that those building supervisors were responsive to your concerns? And I'm trying to establish if there were lines of communication from parents to the building leaders as well as to the school system.
Oh, absolutely. Not for me personally, but yeah, I mean, people were concerned whether that was about discipline issues or, different things like that.
When you say discipline issues, are you saying that there was a vibe at school that was
we had one
difficult?
Parent, I think it was several years ago, who was extremely concerned. Our middle school was sometimes referred to within the kids as the jungle.
Okay.
I mean, that's not good right off the
No,
bat.
yeah.
You could tell that there are things going on which, are not conducive to everybody having a secure, safe environment.
Sure. And what did parents want to have happen, and what kind of mitigation happened to avoid the jungle, I guess,
Well,
I mean, did you see
parent,
an actual game plan to mitigate all that?
I think at that point she actually left. Like she pulled her.
She pulled her kids,
because
yeah.
it was just nothing was really changing at that point.
Okay, and again, that era
So lack
was
of leadership. 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Right.
You know where I'm coming from here. You hear, you
I
can
get
hear
you.
it, right? It's
I
like
I smell what you're throwing here.
Right.
because you don't turn around school systems like an aircraft carrier, right? It takes a
Absolutely.
little while, and even schools, right? I mean,
Right.
decisions are data driven.
Correct.
And so if the and we haven't even talked about the survey just yet,
Right.
but if the vibe coming from parents, mind you, is that, hey, we've got some
problems.
we've got some culture issues at Blessed Sacrament. And again, would that be your opinion as well, in addition to that lady's opinion?
To me, I think that we just have a different vibe. We've always had a different vibe. We're strong people at Blessed Sacrament. There's that bulldog. We're passionate in everything that we do. You probably saw it back when you were at St. Paul's.
Sure, yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? So I like to call it passion for some of it, but do I think that, things were overlooked as far as, maybe leadership didn't do what it was supposed to do? Yes.
Were kids feeling unsafe?
I think that some may have been,
Okay.
like not me personally, not
Yeah.
my children. I haven't had any bad experiences, like I said,
Okay.
that I've been there. I feel like we got a lot of passion over there. So sometimes.
Dorothy, you have a
Yes.
middle schooler.
Yes.
Any issues on culture?
It was a little different for me because this was only my son's second year in the school.
Okay, he was a
Yeah,
transfer in?
No, we homeschooled for
You
the
homeschooled?
first 5 years.
And how was that transition?
Well, it was very hard for me to move from homeschooling
Yeah,
into a brick and mortar because I enjoyed homeschooling so
Yeah.
much. But one of the things that really impressed me about Blessed Sacrament was the way he was able to be woven into this existing school culture. One of the things I love about the school is it's completely colorblind.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have our black students, we have our white students, we have our minority students.
Right.
It's not an issue.
We're very diverse.
Yeah,
Diverse,
it's
yeah.
a really a beautiful thing to see, and that's one of the things that was very important to me, for him to be exposed to all kinds of people.
Right, absolutely.
know.
Would you be willing to take a couple phone calls? What do you think?
Absolutely.
Let's put some
do it.
headphones on, okay?
All right.
Shaney's going to help you out here, and I'm going to grab the phone caller. Caller, you're live with our parents from Blessed Sacrament. Again, we're going to do a quick question and have them answer off the line. Go ahead with your question.
Hey, thanks, Joel. My name's Jim. I'm actually a Blessed Sacrament alumni myself.
Okay,
that's nice.
awesome.
First-time caller. So hi, Shani and Joel, and hi, the parents from Blessed Sacrament. My question would be, hope everybody's doing all right. I seen that the diocese was kind of disagreeing with the protests and everything else, and I would wish the best, for the school and for the future of the school. But I guess my question would be, and I'm not very educated on the issue particularly, but what might be the solution? Let's say, if the diocese offered the solution to be all parents pay double the tuition for the students and we can keep the school open, would the parents be willing to pay double? Or, I mean, what would it take to keep the school open, and what are the people willing to do to compromise?
All right, I'm going to have them answer it. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it very much. All right, so is this a matter of tuition not being sufficient? Is it a dollars and cents issue?
We're not sure if it's really, they won't tell us any dollars and cents about a lot of this. When we've asked, they're not giving us any answers as far as, we've said, like, let's fundraise. Well, how much do we need? What do we need to do? And it's just, nobody's really being transparent about anything like that. as far as, paying double the tuition, we already pay, a good penny for tuition.
What are we over $5,000?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for-
just not
per
like
student?
I think
It's
56.
5,600. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about average. So.
We want to become a parish school. Like that's what we would like to do.
And that means governance would transfer to the local parish priest, the pastor,
Right.
and run by the building principal.
And
right?
it's a really interesting thing to note. St. Gregory out of Northeast, their tuition is significantly less than the tuition that we're paying at Erie Catholic.
I'd love to know how many religious are teaching out there, because again, I think that's the big.
I don't think any.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing an amazing job out there.
Okay.
It's a really strong sense of community.
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw when I was looking at the website, I know you were out there, Christina, and I wasn't, was there's a high degree of parent involvement.
Yes.
Okay.
So the parents do fundraise. They contribute in other ways. I've seen a lot of schools that, parents are volunteering in the school. That's part of like a tuition requirement. And one other thing that's a good possibility is, okay, so you want to increase enrollment. So you do things like incentivize enrollment. Okay, so you bring somebody into the school for a year. That cuts off your tuition. There are all kinds of really creative grassroots ways that we can tackle these kind of problems. And, we would love to come forward with these ideas if we're given a chance.
We're talking to parents from Blessed Sacrament. We got to take our first break. It is 4:23. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show, having the crucial conversations that Erie needs. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We are talking to Dorothy and Christina, their parents of children in the Blessed Sacrament Catholic School. Here's the text of the email. Dear Erie Catholic families, today we share that this is from the 14th of February. Today we share the difficult news that Blessed Sacrament School will close at the end of this academic year. And this is where I want to go here with our conversation. This decision was made after extensive evaluation and prayerful discernment as part of the Mettler plan to focus on the sustainability of Erie Catholic school system's role in Catholic education in Erie. And it had a press release that was issued that provided additional context. We understand the deep impact it has on the Blessed Sacrament community, its students, families, faculty, staff, and parish. Blessed Sacrament School has been a beloved part of our Catholic school system. Its legacy will always hold a special place in our hearts and history. And the later on, you guys had that meeting, right, on the 18th, I think it was,
18th.
4 days later. And the bishop and the system replied to that. So in an article in Go Erie by Nick Sorensen, they knocked down these bullet points of data that enrollment was down 52%, which was twice the rate of any other school. The school was operating at 64% capacity. Future projections indicated that the decline will continue in these areas. Retention rates at Blessed Sacrament were the lowest among the system over the last 4 to 5 years, and that the school was in an unsustainable financial position. Again, that's all from the Go Erie article of the response by the board chair of the Catholic school system. Do you have responses to this? First off, did you participate in the MELT, was there a way to provide parent feedback into the study when they came through to analyze the school system?
Yes, there was a survey that was open to parents in October. I think it was about 10 days or 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it was presented as an opportunity, to be involved in the future of the Catholic school system. There was really nothing in it that would have led you to believe
It
that,
wasn't
hey,
like, if you
we're
don't
on the
fill this
chopping
out,
block.
you're out of here,
So, we did have actually a fairly low response to that.
So the parents, there was a low response
There was a
rate
low
to this?
response because, there are probably a lot of people that feel like, you're working, 16-hour
Sure,
shift. You'd
yeah.
rather maybe spend time with your family rather than fill out a survey, which, you're thinking maybe nobody's going to pay attention to anyway.
But can you address some of these bullet points here where enrollment is down? It's at 33% less capacity.
And it's
so on,
very
yeah.
easy to see that enrollment is down. It's clear.
Yeah.
There are some reasons for that. For instance, this is a really interesting point to me, is of all the schools in the Erie Catholic school system, Blessed Sacrament is the only school that does not have either access to the Erie Catholic school bus or City of Erie yellow buses for its students. We have kids who are forced to take the EMTA. Not knocking the EMTA, they're great, but they have to wait for 20 minutes in a neighborhood which, may not be the safest neighborhood. In fact, our principal, Sister Catherine Horan, she rode the bus with these kids the first week of school because she wanted to make sure that they were safe. But, they still have to wait, bus might be delayed, weather.
Was there a reason why they wouldn't have access to any system-owned school buses at all? What's the reason that's
Christina,
presented?
do you have any idea?
How far are the kids coming? Because, the city
have
kids
kids on
have to
the east
walk
side. We
a
have-
mile and a half,
Right. We have families over on the east side. We have families from Harbor Creek that drive in, that are choosing this school because it fits their family.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But to make it more interesting, this is kind of where it gets funny to me, is our kids are being taken on shadow visits to other schools. So from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., so they can miss up to 5 instructional days to be touring these other schools, which has completely turned education upside down at this point.
So this has all been happening since the announcement.
This has been happening since the 28th of February.
Yeah.
But one of the things that has happened is they are taking these kids on the Erie Catholic school bus. So
We can use the bus now.
We can use it to tour the other schools. It's allowed now. It's been parked in our parking lot, very frequently, So it's kind of an interesting little bit of irony.
Do you feel that the Catholic Systems Board is, well, I'm going to hold that because I'm out of time, because this is going to be a long answer. Yeah, let's go to our bottom of the hour news break. I'm talking to Dorothy Sexauer, Christina Erven. They are parents of Blessed Sacrament school students. Stay with us. It's Talk Erie. It's Talk Erie on the Joel Natale Show, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio. Also live on Facebook and YouTube. They're called the Bulldogs. Blessed Sacrament. Again, at its heyday, 1,000 students. Football, basketball. What else? Soccer, I'm sure.
Track.
Always had a good cross country team and track team. And we're talking to Dorothy, Sexauer, Christina, Erven. Dorothy's got a 6th grader. Christina has a 2nd and 7th grader at Blessed Sacrament. And again, in the release, the from the 14th, this is what was said from the school board. Despite its beloved role in the community, enrollment at Blessed Sacrament School had dropped by more than twice that of any other school in the system, with a 52% loss. Since the Erie Catholic school system was established as part of a diocesan-wide school restructuring plan, Building in Truth and Love, our mission remains the same, according to Ann Carlin, board chair of the system, but we need to respond to the realities of today. And they had said that by streamlining the system, more resources can be used to reinvest in student academic programming, move toward a long-term goal of more equitable pay for faculty and staff. In addition, the school board president said the system is exploring ways to address families' needs for childcare and early learning opportunities. The decision has the full support of both Bishop Lawrence Persico and Jim Gallagher, superintendent of schools for the Diocese of Erie. Ladies, I want to get back to this process of communication and where your desired outcomes are, because you did respond. In fact, in that Go Erie article by Nicholas Sorensen, they say that the board president said waiting longer would risk further instability across the system. And it quotes a parent, "We feel deeply frustrated and heartbroken that our questions haven't been answered." Carlin responded, "We hear families loud and clear. They want more transparency, and the board, along with the transition team, is committed to increasing the system's transparency." So here we are. This article in Go Erie came out now back on March 7th. Are you feeling like you're getting answers to your questions?
Too little, too late.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
All right. So what are you hearing from the system right now? I mean, here we are just a week after this article.
The hard part is we've just been treated like numbers and treated like numbers instead of, parents in a Catholic school system.
When you say treated like numbers, how do you mean by that?
Well, just getting an email and broken up with on Valentine's Day and really not even chance to ask questions.
But since then, has there been a back and forth? Has there been some
It
conversations?
took how many weeks for us to get the answers that we asked at the meeting? A few weeks.
Probably 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just been, and we understand that they're trying to figure this out, I think, as they go.
How do you mean? What do you mean by that? Because this sounded like a very data-driven decision. What do you mean they're figuring it out?
So in other words, one example is 4 days, that meeting on the 18th.
Of February.
Of February, we were told that counselors had spoken with our children and there had been no signs of trauma. So in other words, everything was going to be hunky-dory. Since then, we have noticed so many things with our kids. I just talked to somebody yesterday who told me about a kid in the school he went to a Catholic school, it closed. He went to public school for a little bit, came back to Blessed Sacrament because his parents were so invested in the Catholic school. It has closed. They are disgusted with the Catholic school system. They don't want anything to do with it. That is not a win in my book.
A lot of these children found out over social media that their school was closing. So, I mean, even just a meeting or something that would have been more personal with us prior to this happening could have changed the tone, of the entire thing.
Part of in some of the, in you reaching out to us, part of your conversation or your pitch, if you will, was that you feel that Blessed Sacrament is the most accessible of the schools because of its position, there on 26 and Green Garden, and that it is available. And you just talked about the diversity in this conversation. Can you help me understand about that? Do you feel like this is kind of representing the city, and how would it be more
absolutely.
representing the city than, let's say, St. Luke's, which is just on West 38th and Parade or so,
Well,
or East 30th and Parade.
Right. We have the highest minorities group at our school. We are just right dead smack we're easy accessible. We have the football field. We have, a beautiful campus. And it still feels like probably what you experienced at St. Paul's, I experienced at Sacred Heart. It's got that everybody knows everybody. We help feed our kids. We help clothe our kids. So this isn't just, okay, we go to school, we care about these kids. We're making sure our teachers are making sure that these children are cared for mind, body, and spirit every day.
Mm-hmm. And with the proximity of the parish being right there, Father Phil is a wonderful, pastoral priest. And just developing that relationship between the parish and school, that's a wonderful starting point to help people grow in their faith, to build relationships, and to build relationships right here in Erie. So they're not just like, okay, well, I'm heading out of town, taking what's good and going. It's forging some long-term things.
Do you feel, though, again, Christina, you have one that was getting ready to be an 8th grader next year. And Dorothy, yours is, a couple years out.
Right.
Could you find a place, let's say, at St. Luke's or OLP? OLP is really not that far away. Mm-hmm. If you'd rather be on the east side, there is still St. James. There's still St. Luke's.
Right. Will my children be okay? Yes, because they have me, right? And they have my husband, and we're amazing. If I must say so ourselves, make sure he hears that.
No, absolutely.
They will be okay. My children will be okay. Does everybody come from that's in our community? No. So this isn't really necessarily about my kids as much as it is about all of the kids in our school and in our community. I volunteer a lot at school, so I'm there, I'm with them, and it is probably a lot to ask for, someone who is a minority to go into these schools where people don't look like them. And, it is kind of taking them out of their environment, kind of going like, here, do this, you're okay. So, it's a bigger issue. If I thought that the school wasn't in good shape and didn't have a chance to succeed with the leadership that it has right now, I wouldn't even be wasting my time with this.
Is it your claim as parents that some of these data points, these indicators that are indicated in the Go Erie article are because of lack of leadership both at the system level and at the school level until more recently?
Undoubtedly.
Yes.
So that's the bottom line there.
Yes.
That you wouldn't have had the decline had there been stronger leadership at the building level and at the school system level.
Yes.
Okay. But again, you've lost more than twice as much as some of the maybe more resource schools. You think that's a part of it too?
Yes. I had already mentioned the transportation situation.
Yeah.
And
I think transportation would be key for us.
Mm.
It would be a game changer, really.
Yeah. How about participation in sports and other extracurriculars? Were the kids getting involved?
Oh, absolutely.
Were the parents getting involved? What were you able to keep going here?
Mm-hmm. All of it. I think something as we're like that post-COVID world of we have to get back to grassroots and say, hi, my name's Christina and I have a 2nd grader and a 7th grader. Like,
people don't want to do that
come to the
anymore.
PTO meeting or really just, I think people are so lost and parents are just scrambling to make the world run, and I think that what we provide at our school is a sense of family and a sense of community where, it doesn't matter where you live or where you're from or what your situation is, we're all Bulldogs.
Yeah. Yeah. The, what do you think the chances are that this will be maybe delayed? They're saying that they won't delay it.
Well, there's a lot of prayer involved. I'll tell you that right out the gate.
Hey, that's the number one source,
Right.
right?
And I do think that there's a lot of popular support in the community. Christina and I and a couple other moms were out there on the street,
Freezing
every day with
freezing to
our
death.
signs,
Yeah.
dancing around to our, our speaker.
Are you hearing
and
from
heard a lot of-
alumni? I mean,
absolutely.
Is there a
Oh, yeah.
GoFundMe page? I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
well, there's not a GoFundMe, but there is a place where people can pledge.
Okay.
So we're not accepting monetary donations at this point, but if they would go to www.savebss.org, that's the place where you can show your support and, indicate to the bishop and anybody else who's interested that we do have people interested in financially backing and keeping the school surviving and keeping all the bulldog stuff going on for the next generation and the
Right.
next generation.
and you
after
are
that.
hearing from the parish leadership and the school leadership at the building that they would like to keep it going.
Yes.
I mean, they're basically saying, with all due respect, Bishop, we don't agree.
Yes.
That's what we're hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Bishop
kind of a big
listen,
deal.
Bishop Persico, he's a good guy.
Absolutely.
He's a great man.
done
He's got a great
stuff.
heart. He's done amazing things for our diocese.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think this all just happened really quick on our end. Anyways, it happened so quick. And we're not.
It sounds like it happened quick, period, because if the data collection was in October and you have a decision to move
Right.
within 4 months, I mean, I guess that's reasonable
I mean,
amount.
it didn't
but
happen instantaneously
No.
either.
Right.
Yeah.
We want a chance to do what we know we can do, without, and it's not even staying with Erie Catholic.
You're saying,
Right.
give us our independence.
Right.
And are they responding to that of why that's untenable? Why that's not a solution? Are you hearing that?
Speak to that.
Well, it's always the money, right? And it would help us if we had an amount of money. See, what it comes back to is, everything is based on this data-driven study, this
Right.
Meitler plan. Other than like 4 or 5, talking points, we haven't seen what's in that plan. We haven't seen what kind of money that we would need to make this work. We would much rather be going in fundraising than, no offense to you sitting here with you, trying to like do stopgap things to just try to keep this going.
I mean, again, we're going through major reorganization of the actual parishes, right?
Mm-hmm.
My old parish now is only open for weddings and funerals, St. Paul's.
Right.
I'm not even
Yeah.
sure they do Christmas Eve. They might,
Yeah, I can't remember if they have a mass.
But like,
I don't know.
they're part of a triad, I
Mm-hmm.
think, with Sacred Heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's St. Paul's, and I can't remember the other one. I mean, it's the bishop is dealing with the reality of the demographics
Right.
of Erie, Pennsylvania, where we have a shrinking population. Unfortunately, many even Catholic families are saying, I'm not going to be able to make the sacrifice to send my kids to parish school, whereas it was just a bigger deal and a more affordable deal, honestly, back in the day. When you paid, I don't know, my parents might have paid a couple $100 a
Right.
year, but it was just a different
We figure it out, though,
situation.
and I think that we're in such a time where
But they're
people-
saying that
Right.
your 178 kids, even if they had a retention rate of 80%, could be, fueling OLP and St. Luke's and St. James.
Right, and I think that's how they're
and
looking
St.
at
Jude's,
it. And in a way that feels very insulting, because they're saying, oh, it's we're going to use you to help our bottom line, but we're going to forget about the fact that you've built this family. And one of the things that Pope Francis said, the preferential option for the poor, for the vulnerable, and it means that you don't only just acknowledge that they exist, but you allow them to have choices. You allow them to kind of build their own lives. That's really important. That's part of the church is built on mission. Catholic education is built on mission. You got people like Elizabeth Ann Seton, John Bosco, and I think it's really intuitive.
So you're feeling that a big part of this is a social justice part of it.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
All right, I've got about 3 minutes left. What would you want our audience members, many who may not have a dog in this fight, but also, have fond memories. I'm thinking of Jim, our caller, who is an alum, a bulldog,
Right.
and is probably I was heartsick when our school closed,
Right.
Again, that was 40 years ago, mind you, though. But what would you have the audience understand?
Some things are worth fighting for, especially right now. And if we keep pushing God away from us, it's a greater problem. And these kids need this. They need the structure. They need the stability. And I just think it's really important.
Dorothy?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said, Christina. And I do think that what's kind of kept us going up to this point, because there have been times when we felt very downhearted about all of it, is it seems like God has always been pushing us onto the next thing, and too many things have happened in this process that have been the work of the Holy Spirit, really. So I guess we feel led, and so we will keep going until the Lord tells us to stop with this.
Would you appreciate a visit by either the bishop or the head of the school system? I mean, do we need to get? Have we had that kind of, face-to-face conversation? And is there another one in the works?
We did talk to the bishop was it Friday?
Mm-hmm.
And
You
Mr.
did.
Gallagher, we talked to them, but we would welcome another opportunity. We would love to be able to work with.
You didn't
Bishop
get any
Corsica.
satisfaction Friday, you don't think?
It's hard to say at this point.
Right.
We're still awaiting events.
Okay, so there's still some news to come. It sounds like, huh?
Oh yes.
Okay, well, I guess we'll stay on this story here. I really appreciate you taking the time to reach out. I wanted to make sure you had ample opportunity to tell your story and to kind of deal with kind of the, some of the real data points that the diocese is kind of trying to deal with and mitigate. And so, again, you go into these things clear-eyed of like, hey, we have a lot of challenges, right?
Right.
But maybe there are solutions that could even be better than what we're thinking of right now.
Of course, when God's involved.
Yeah.
100%.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you
This has
for your
been
time.
Wonderful.
You got it. Dorothy Sexauer, Christina, Erven, parents of some children at Blessed Sacrament School. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
452.